Hello, welcome to Hobby Math. In this YouTube video, I'm going to show you how to do some basic analysis in terms of finding the descriptive statistics, also constructing a frequency histogram, and also the pie chart. All right, so this is one example about 14 actual high temperatures, and we're going to use it as a data set to perform analysis. So first of all, we're going to calculate mean, median, mode, range, variance, standard deviation for all those 14 numbers. Secondly, we're going to compute a z-score for each data value x. And thirdly, we're going to look at how to construct a frequency histogram using 5 classes. And also, the last step, we're going to construct a pie chart based on the classes we made from the previous step. All right, first of all, we're going to look at how to calculate the mean. So we're using a formula called average, right, in Excel to calculate the mean. So yeah, so first of all, we put in an equal sign. So in Excel, if you want to calculate anything or like perform any operations, put equal sign first, and then we type in average. Okay, and typically, when you're typing first couple letters of the formula, all those letters starting with those digits will show up, right? So we can just open parentheses, average, and then highlight the entire data set. Okay, and from there we should be able to get the mean. Okay, so the mean is 68.57, and if you want to change the rounding, right? Change it to a certain decimal place using the rounding rules. You can go up here, increase the decimal places, or decrease the decimal places. And also, if you right-click on it, you're going to see a format cells. If you open the format cells, this window will pop up, and from there we'll be able to either change to different type of numbers. If it is a currency, then put $sign in front of it. But it's a number, so we want 2 decimal place, and it's good to go. All right. And also, second one is a median. So you just type in median. Okay. And then open parentheses, and again highlight entire data set. So it's from B10 to B23. And B10 colon B23 indicates we are including all the numbers from B10 all the way to B23. And from there, you hit enter, you get 65. Now we look at the mode, we type in the mode, and open parentheses. So highlight the entire data set, close parentheses, and then from there, hit enter, we get a mode, right? Okay, mode 62. And then range, if you look at the range, we are using the maximum value minus minimum value. So that's a formula to calculate each one of these, right? So the maximum you type in M8X, meaning we are trying to figure out maximum numbers in this data set. Okay. Close parentheses, minus minimum. Okay, so again, highlight the entire data set, close it. And we are using maximum minus minimum, that's the range. The range is 38. Also, if you saw the data set, right? So highlight the entire data set, go on top, you see AZ, sort and filter. You pick the first option, sort and filter, and then right here, you're going to continue with the current selection, sort. Then we should be able to get a minimum 51, maximum 89. The difference between those two numbers, that's 38. And next step is variance. So we are using a formula called VAR dot S. Here, S represents sample, VAR represents variance. So using this formula, we can calculate the sample variance. Because this is a sample right here, so use a sample. If it is VAR dot P, and we use that to calculate the population variance. Okay, so similarly, highlight the entire data set, close parentheses, and we get a variance, sample variance And also the last one is standard deviation, so we do STDEV open dot S. Again, ST represents standard, DEV represents deviation. So it's the sample standard deviation, open parentheses. Now from here we highlight type data set, close it. Okay, then hit enter. We should get a standard deviation. Now we completed calculation of all those descriptive statistics. Let's look at how you calculate the z-score. Right? So the z-score formula. Okay, so z-score formula. Let me see if I can put the. Okay. So z-score formula is. Okay, let me quickly show you. So z-score equal to So basically, z-score formula, we do this z-score equal to x minus x bar and divided by standard deviation s, right? Okay, so we're going to use this formula to calculate the z-score here. So first of all, we're going to open parentheses, equal sign open parentheses, and select one of the data values, which is first data value in the data set minus the mean is down below. Okay. Now I'm going to use an absolute reference to handle this. So in order to lock the cell, meaning use the absolute reference, you put a dollar sign in front of the C, dollar sign in front of 25. And close parentheses divided by standard deviation, that's going to be this. Okay. And again, we're going to lock the cell for the standard deviation, dollar sign from C, dollar sign from 30. And now from there, we'll be able to get the z-score for the first data values, right? Okay. But again, I'm going to format it to 2 decimal place. Okay. All right. And now once we put in one of the formulas, now we can just use the Excel to calculate the rest of them. If you see this green box outside, highlight the cell, you see green box outside, and go down the bottom right hand corner, you're going to see a solid cross. Then from there, you're just going to drag it all the way to the bottom. Okay, so then we'll be able to find all the z-scores, right? If you look into all those z-scores, it's between -2 to 2 standard deviation from the mean. So that means all of those data values are usual values. Okay, so that's from the range rule of thumb, but we know that any number fall between -2 standard deviation and 2 standard deviation of the mean are the usual values. Okay, so this is absolute reference is very crucial, right? Also, it's very convenient. If you have a large data set, you have tons of data values. All right, and if you look at once you put in the dollar sign, then we lock cell, and cell using the same cell for the mean and standard deviation, okay, to do the calculation. So that is z-score, right? So the next thing is, let's look at how to construct a frequency histogram here. So in order to construct a frequency histogram, we need a frequency distribution table. So we need a range, right? We calculated the range earlier, so let me see the number. Let me just change the font size. So right here, range should be the same as this. Cell C28, key enter. So range is 38, and then the question tells us we want 5 classes, right? So the number of classes is 5. So dividing the range by number of classes, you get a class width. But this is not a set. We're not going to use 7.6 because first of all, it's not a well-running number. Secondly, usually we should run it to the next whole numbers in terms of using the class width. So in this case, we're going to run it to 8. So that being said, 8 is our class width. And now from here, we're going to use a pivot table to create a frequency distribution table. Once we know all this, okay, the class width, starting point and ending point. Okay, I'll go to pivot table. Now in the pivot table, we're going to select the entire data set, meaning selecting including the title X. That'll be good. Okay, and then we're going to put in the existing worksheet. So we're going to put it here, and then you can pick a location for that. Right? So I'm going to pick the location right here. Okay, and we're going to click on OK. Right? So then, okay, so now the pivot table field will pop up on the side. Then check the X. We're going to move this down to the rows, right? Now that's the first thing we need. And from here, let's close out the pivot table fields on the side. Now we're going to look into each one of the data values. So right here, we're going to group it, right, using the starting point 51, ending number is 89, and then by means that's class width. So we determine that class width should be 8. And when using 8, you will be able to cover all the data values in our data set. Okay. So click on OK. All right, now we get all the classes, 5 classes. And from here, again, the next column will be the frequency. And this is not a frequency yet, so click on one of the cell, like 51, and right click on it, you're going to see value field settings. Now in the value field settings, we're going to use the Excel to count the number of data values falling into each class. So click on count. Okay. So now once you do that, the Excel will count how many data values fall in the first class. If you look at it, between 51 to 58, that's only one number, right? 51 inside of the class. So that means we have the right thing. So now I'm going to modify the frequency distribution table really quickly. So put in the classes first, okay, and then frequencies, class and frequencies. Second column is the frequencies. All right, now we just highlight the entire table. Now I'm going to format it, center everything, bold it, put in different font size. Okay, bold it, right? So we get the table, and that's what we call a frequency distribution table. Now I'm just putting all borders to make it look like a table. Okay. Now once we have all of these classes and then frequencies that highlight the entire table, and again go to insert, and then we're going to pick 2D column, right? You don't want a 3D column, you know. Our options here, 2D column will be the good option here. So I'm going to put it on the side, and then we're going to modify the graph a little bit. So first of all, it's not a good graph yet, because there's a gap between all those classes, right? So we're going to reduce all the gaps. First one, and then just modify the title. That should be the analysis. So we're gonna put in the title here. So chart title. You can if this here you can put in, check the chart title. When you click on the solid cross on the top right hand corner, there are a lot of options here. Now if you want to put in the data table underneath it, that's okay. So the chart title, I'm putting analysis of histogram. Of high temperatures. And also we can change the font size if you want to change the color. So those are the some options we have here. We can modify that. Also, if let's say you want to pick a design, right? Go on top. You can pick a design for the graph. You see a lot of different designs available on top under the design option. Keyword top tools. I guess I will pick okay. Let's see what is a good design. Maybe I'll pick this one. Okay. And now on the side we can still format a little bit here. Trend line. If you want to trend line. We don't want trend line. Okay. Now it's a important thing is reducing the gap, right? So we're gonna go to click on one of these rectangle box which represent each class, and right click on it, you're gonna see format data series. Okay. So the one thing you can do is you can reduce the gap width, right? So then, and also on the borders, you're gonna put in a different color to separate borders. Let's say if you want borders, you put in this the solid line, and see you get it. So all the classes are separated. And there's another way of doing this, which is again click on all those rectangle box, format data series, and now the filling. When you click on fill, and underneath you're going to see various colors are pumped. So if you want to use different colors for each class, that's also doable right here. And then you can also put in the data labels right under this. So a lot of different modifications you can make to your frequency distribution table. Right. So again, get creative, and then you'll be able to create a fancy graph out of this. Okay. So this is the histogram. So next thing, I'm going to show you how to create a pie chart. From this frequency distribution table. Okay. So first one, let me just highlight this. Format the title a little bit. Alright, so now, first of all, we're going to copy the entire table. Copy and then paste it underneath it. Okay. So now we get this, and if you want, we can create a total column down below. Okay. So we can use a formula to sum up all the frequencies. So type in sum, open parentheses, highlight the entire table, we get this. And from there we close parentheses, hit enter, so that total frequency in this case will be 14. So I will format the cell really quickly. Okay. Now, usually when we create a pie chart, we're using percentage. Okay, to separate all those classes. Then we format one more time. putting all borders. Okay. Now, first of all, we're gonna calculate a percentage for each class. So we're gonna use the cell numbers. So put equal sign using cell G30 by cell G35. And again, we're gonna do the absolute reference on the G35. Okay. Then we get percentage for the first class, and then yeah. So we get all these decimal numbers, and if you want percentage, just highlight the entire table, go to format, and right here there's a percent option, percentage. If you want 2 decimal place, that's okay. Click on OK, right? So get that. Also, if you do a quick auto sum here, go on top, do a quick auto sum, you get 100%. It is supposed to be 100%. Okay, so now from here we will be able to create a pie chart, right? So we're going to highlight this, hold the control on the keyboard, highlight that. Now go to insert and go to this chart option, go to insert, go to this chart option, the pie chart. I'm going to create a 2D pie. Now 3D pie I've done it. A lot of options on top, but let's stick with the 2D pie. And again, on top there's designs here. So if you want to pick a design you like, that's fine. Let's see. So there are some design options top. Okay. If I don't want to redesign over there, we can just stick with our original pie chart and then go from there. And also on the existing pie chart, okay, so we can just on the plus sign right here, we can change chart labels, data labels. Right? Click on data labels. Okay, that'll do it. Yeah. Also, you can resize it. On side, you can resize it. What else? Okay, also chart titles. You can modify chart titles. Chart. Okay. And again, a lot of things we can modify here. If you right click on it, go to format data series, and you can do a lot of modification here, and also solid point. So you can change the color, vary color by slice, and you can put in different colors on the borders, and just solid line borders. Let's pick a color on the borders. But again, totally up to you, right? It depends on your audience, or if you present the data set to your audience, and then you want to show certain effects. And you can play around with all those chart options here and there, and be able to get a very good graph. Okay, yes, that will be the end of the video. Okay.